Ashley started her own handmade, sustainable bikini business, knowing a little bit about sewing and absolutely nothing about business. After doing some research of how to make a bikini, she bought some fabric and went for it. Her research revealed something about seam allowance, which was a completely foreign concept to her. So she went ahead, cut out her fabric, based the pattern on her own bikini, sewed it inside out, and then flipped it around. The result was a combination of crooked seams and something that resembled a bikini bottom, but one that would only fit a toddler. A bit of frustration and disappointment did not stop Ashley from laughing it off and going back to the drawing board. Gathering more information about this mysterious seam allowance, she finally understood the concept. She started over and created a new pattern. Her sizing was getting better, but it still didn't reflect what she actually wanted. The stitching was horrendous, lumpy seams, wrinkled material, and completely crooked. For a moment, she was concerned that she may not be able to produce a bikini worthy of selling. But her resilient and tenacious nature kept her at it. Hours of watching videos, researching, reading instructions finally paid off. She felt proud of her creation and debuted her first bikini at work as a scuba dive instructor to an excellent response. Shortly after, she launched her company, Cotakinis. Ashley is a 1-3 profile in human design, and this is her actual story. In today's episode, I cover the 1-3 profile. I break down each of these two lines, their strengths and challenges, how to make the most of this energy, as well as how these energies come together uniquely in the 1-3 profile. I'll go over some potential pitfalls of this profile in business and what to do about them to step into the highest expression of this energy. Welcome to Heart-Centered Human Design, Emotional Intelligence, and Conscious Business, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs that want meaningful success and work-life balance so they can wake up every day feeling inspired, empowered, and supported by work and life. I'm your host, Vanessa Naja, human design mentor and business coach, and I'm so excited to help you step into the highest expression of your design and create a business that you love that supports your life through this incredible system. At the end of the episode, if you want to learn how to dive deeper into this incredible system to help you create the business that you were born to create, I'll let you know how to do just that. This is the beginning of the episode on the human design profiles in business. And if you want an overview of where these numbers come from or diving deeper into the profiles, go ahead and check out Season 1, Episodes 28 and 29. Now, your profile, also known as your public role, is how you manifest your purpose in the world. It's an extremely important aspect of your design, and it shows you a lot about how you learn, how you create, how you interact in relationships, and it adds so much depth and uniqueness to your human design type and authority. So you can have the same type and the same authority with a different profile, and they are going to be so different in how they operate. Now, the profile is made up of two lines, and usually somewhere on your human design chart, it will say your profile, and it looks like a fraction. In today's episode, we're talking about the 1-3 profile. So you'll see the 1 and a slash and then the 3. And the first number in your profile is the line or the quality on your personality sun or the conscious aspect of your design. This is who you recognize yourself to be at a conscious level. It's the aspect of your personality that you probably really identify with. The second number, so in today's episode, that would be the 3. This is the unconscious or the design side. It's the quality that sits on your unconscious sun or the line that sits on your unconscious sun. And this is unconscious. It's something that other people will likely recognize about you right away, but it might take you a little bit longer to recognize this part of yourself. Your profile is the synthesis of these two lines coming together. It is a quantum. They operate as one. And what can happen often is that we are more stuck in one side of the profile and we are not embodying the other side so much. And really it's a dance, and we want to blend these two and have them work together in this beautiful binary so that we can step into the highest expression of our purpose. The 1-3 profile is what is called a personal profile. We have three kinds of profiles. We have personal, transpersonal, and juxtaposition. And the personal profiles, these are the ones where the smaller number is in the first part or on the conscious side, are very much here to learn about the world through their own experience with themselves. This is an introspective profile that really has to learn through its own experience and then share those experiences with others. Now, the 1-3, both of these lines or qualities are in the lower aspect of the hexagram, trigrams, where this comes from. And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, don't worry about it. Just know that this is the most introspective of the profiles, and can be very concerned with self. Now, one of the drawbacks here is that this can sometimes be judged as selfish. And this is that conditioning of you shouldn't be so focused on yourself. However, with the personal profiles, and especially this one, it is essential that you really focus on yourself and you learn through your own experience before you share that with others. Just because it's a personal profile and the most personal of them doesn't mean that it isn't amazing also in relationships and that it doesn't need relationships. It just means it really needs to focus on self first before going out and being with others. Now, starting with the one line, the conscious side of this profile, this is the investigator or the authority. This is about building solid foundations through knowledge and understanding, through research, through gathering information, through study, and it moves from a place of insecurity when it doesn't have enough information to a place of feeling secure when it has gathered the information that it needs, and it has the potential of really becoming an authority to other people through what it has studied and then embodied through, in this particular case, the third line in its profile. So the one loves to study, loves to research. It feels like it always needs more information. And one of the pitfalls about this energy that can show up in business is that people with the first line in their profile feel like they never know enough and like they always have to study more, get more certifications, know more, understand more before they can actually put their work out into the world. And what can often happen with first lines is that they then never put anything out there because they feel like they don't know enough. So an important aspect of that first line in the profile is to implement while continuing to research, because you are always, your entire life, you're going to be researching. You're going to want to have that solid foundation of information, and you're going to continue to build upon that foundation as you become an authority. That is a lifelong process. And in order to actually accomplish something in your business, you have to start putting yourself out there. You have to start implementing and know that you are going to continually refine for the rest of your life. Now, the third line, this is known as the martyr in traditional human design. And that name can be a little bit off-putting. However, the reason behind the name is that the third line, they're always learning through trial and error. They are learning through the school of hard knocks. They are falling down. They are getting back up. They're extremely resilient and tenacious. They are here to bring change. They're immutative. And they are also the first ones that will be willing to call out when something is wrong, when something is not truthful, when something is incorrect. They will call it out and they're willing to take the flak for it, which is where that martyr name comes from. Now in BG5, the business application of human design, we actually call the third line the pioneer, because they are here trailblazing and showing the world what works and what doesn't work through their own experience. So people with third lines in their profile, they have to experiment. They have to learn through trial and error. And for them, it's really about learning from their quote unquote mistakes, which aren't really mistakes. It's those things that are judged as mistakes are really just, here's what didn't work. What did you learn from it? And now bring that forward into the next step of experimentation. So learning through experience, actually learning by doing, not just studying. Learning by doing is such an essential aspect for the third line. Now, what can show up here, and especially with conditioning, when somebody has a third line in their profile and at a young age, they were given a lot of flack for making mistakes, this can cause them to shut down their experimental nature and keep them from actually doing that trial and error learning that is absolutely essential for them to fulfill their purpose. And there can be a lot of shame that comes from early childhood conditioning for somebody with a third line profile if they were constantly shamed for making mistakes or told not to do that or why did you do it that way, versus being asked, oh, what did you learn from doing it that way? So if you have a third line in your profile, asking yourself whenever something didn't work out the way that you had expected, what did I learn from this is the most important thing, and continuing to experiment no matter what. Not falling into that trap of stopping with the experimentation, being afraid to make mistakes, or the perfectionism trap is absolutely essential to really make the most of this in business, because anybody with a third line, they are here to change the status quo, to show the rest of us what works based on their own personal experience of what they have learned has worked. Having a solid sense of humor is so important for a third line. And this is one of the things I love about Ashley. So the story I told in the beginning of this episode is a true story. Ashley is actually one of my best friends. She started an amazing bikini company, and I have a bunch of her bikinis. We both live in the tropics, and I absolutely love them. And Ashley got to this place by learning through trial and error, by experimenting, making a bunch of mistakes, continually improving upon them until she got to a place where she now makes amazing handmade bikinis in a really reasonable amount of time. They are high quality, they're comfortable, and they're awesome. And this was through her willingness to laugh at her mistakes and to continue to get back up when she's been knocked down until she got to discovering what really works in her business. Now, when we bring the 1-3 profile together, this is somebody who is experimenting with what they have studied, what they have researched to learn and understand what works, and then to bring that out and share it with others. Some pitfalls that can happen with the 1-3 profile, now more often than not, it's that they get stuck in the one side of their profile where they are just continuing to research, and they're actually too afraid to do the experimenting, potentially because of this shame from early childhood conditioning around making mistakes, this fear of not knowing enough to put it out there, not being willing to experiment about what it might look like to put it out there because of that fear of making mistakes. The other thing that can happen is if the third line takes over and they jump into experimentation without actually having done the research. So Ashley actually falls more into the second category because one of the things that Ashley did not research was business regulations and taxes. She'd been promoting her company. She had been super proud of her accomplishments. And around the 6-month mark, she had a very rude awakening because the IRS came knocking on her door. She was completely unaware about the fact that her business actually had to file monthly sales and use taxes, and she was flagged for noncompliance. So not only was it a very serious warning, but also a pile of fines. So she really learned the hard way here because she did not do the research. This is the other aspect that can happen, is diving into the experimentation without doing the research, which can be very damaging. So for that 1-3 profile, really balancing the two aspects, doing the research, then experimenting with it, learning what works and what doesn't work, and then putting that out into the world is so essential. You can't skip either part. If you don't experiment, you won't learn what works and doesn't work. And if you don't do the research, you can get in trouble. So those are just some examples of some common pitfalls the 1-3 profile can fall into. Stepping into the highest expression, really being able to fulfill your purpose, does involve both the experimentation and the research, and then putting out into the world what you have learned, because that is your gift, and that is what helps the rest of us understand and not make the same mistakes that you made, because you've already proven what doesn't work. And you can really think about this like the scientific method. The scientist does the research, they come up with a hypothesis, they test the hypothesis, and if the results weren't what they hoped for, they go back to the drawing board until they get to the point where they actually have something that is proven. So that's it for the 1-3 profile. If you'd like to learn more about Ashley and her awesome bikini business, Cotakinis, check her out on Instagram at Cotakinis. I will also leave a link in the show notes as well as her website. I absolutely love her bikinis. I am not getting paid to do this. I just love Ashley. I thought she was the perfect example of a 1-3 profile in business. So I wanted to share her story. I also love what she does. So if you want to check it out, check it out. And if you want to learn more about stepping into the highest expression of your own human design, really deconditioning all of those old limiting childhood things, whether you are a 1-3 profile and you are dealing with the fear of making mistakes, you're dealing with shame, you're stuck in spending too much time researching, and anything else having to do with your design as far as business is concerned, check out my program, Emotional Intelligence by Design. You can find it at vanessanaja.com/emotional intelligence, or you can contact me on Instagram at @HDVanessaNaja. I would love to hear what you thought of this episode. So if you're somewhere where you can comment, please drop me a line and share any insights that you had. If you have this profile, how does this show up for you? And if you're not somewhere where you can comment, please send me a message on Instagram at @HDVanessaNaja and let me know. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.